Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Ammar, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are absolutely thrilled to be joined by Ed Cortez, the founder and CEO of the Sales Coach Guru. Their mission is very, very simple. They will help you find all the hidden money that your business has, making a tremendous impact to your bottom line. And who does not want that? So, Ed, welcome to Founders Future.
Thank you, Ammar. I'm glad to be here.
I'm excited to dive in. I always like to start from the beginning. So, take me on a little trip down memory lane to before you started the Sales Coach Guru. What were you doing before? And then what was really the motivation behind starting the company?
So I have been basically in sales my entire career. I started off working in insurance. From there, I actually built my own agency that I sold to somebody else. I worked in banking for a while, creating new institutions, new banks until the banking crisis hit. I moved into FinTech, staying around in the money side, working FinTech, building sales teams for a large organization called WorldPay until they went public and were acquired by another institution. Then I jumped ship into another startup that became a unicorn called Rubicon Global, creating their entire partnership and channel sales model. Then I worked with a couple of other fintechs. And while I did all this learning in the startup world, I realized that it didn't matter what the industry was. It didn't matter really what angle you were taking or what product you were selling. The principles were all the same. And wherever I went, always we talk about sales process, we all talk about different principles and different things, but the foundations of the business had to be the same. It was people and process and then profit. Those three are the pillars of the success of most businesses. So during COVID, when we were all working from home and had extra time, I was able to take the time to put all my thoughts together, put them on a book, use the principles in my book to help other businesses scale. And then I decided that since I would be working for other people and didn't have as much time to coach, I would transition into really coaching. And that's how it all came about. And I became an independent coach. And now we just helping other businesses understand this, understand how all the what they're doing sometimes is good, but it might not be perfect. And they don't have to spend any extra money to find money. So the whole principle of my book is how to find you six figures in 60 minutes without spending any additional resources.
Six figures in 6 minutes without spending any additional
60.
resources.
Six
60,
figures in
60,
60 minutes.
60.
Yes.
My bad, my bad.
No problem.
Imagine that would be wild. But still, 60 minutes is pretty nuts.
Yeah.
So let's give the listeners more context into the Sales Coach Guru. Who would you say is your ideal customer? Who do you love to work with? And then what are the different offers, services, packages that you provide?
Yeah. So for me, the ideal customers, I want to be working with companies that are anywhere between $750,000 in annual revenue all the way up to $5 million. And then depending on what they want to accomplish, there are different strategies. For instance, I work with companies that are just trying to become more consistent and more successful. If they're close to $1 million and they want to get to $3 million, they're really trying to become a solid business with enough employees that they are providing 10 to 12 full-time employees. And the owners can actually let the business be a business and not be a job. Then I also work with companies that are larger that are trying to go to the next level. And that can be for two different outcomes. Either it's a legacy company, for instance, somebody who has a business, they have had it for years, it's a very strong business. They don't want to give it to the children. They want to sell it to the children or to another family member. So we work with them in order to prepare whoever is coming in to make that business even more successful so they can purchase it properly. And then there are other companies that are trying the exit strategy of selling the business. So those are two different outcomes there. And then the last piece that we work with are companies that are large enough, they have a strong footprint, they have 3 or 4 locations, they're doing really well, and now they're considering either growing or franchising the business because it's being a hit. So those are the different categories that we look forward to. And all of them have a little bit of a different strategy, of course, because they are at different points of their growth in the business. But we can help all of them.
Got it. Very cool. So walk me through. Because you mentioned a lot of different things right now. Typically, when I talk to coaches, and I've talked to a lot at this point that have many different offerings, there's typically one that is responsible for 80% of the revenue, 80% of the business. I'm curious if you found that to be the case, and if so which one is that for you?
So the number one principle that I try to teach all business owners, regardless of the size of the business, is whether they have a clear message that positions the business as an industry leader. So if you don't have a position of market dominance proposition so that people can really think of you and think of the business, it's very difficult for people to remember you and people to find you. And the buyer's journey happens the same in whatever you are buying. People really usually inquire, trying to understand what products or services you do. Then they shop for the correct vendor, and then they make a decision for that product or that service. But if they cannot even find you to begin with, it's much more difficult for them to choose you as the provider. So the very first step that you work on with almost every business is understanding where they are in their market and what position of market dominance they offer.
Got it. How long do you work with businesses for?
So it depends on what goals that they're trying to do. My typical engagement is for 12 months, and then I have some that have extended and it's been already on their 27-month and ongoing. And then I have some that I can do a short engagement, like a 3-month period, if they want me to come in more of a consultant, not a coach, and just analyze everything that they have, give them a full report with findings, so then they can try to implement their own strategies. The advantages for me to come in as an outside source is if you hire somebody as employee to rectify whatever you got going on, they're always concerned about not stepping in the wrong toes or not saying the wrong thing, where I can be very direct, very honest, and very frank. And in a lot of the small businesses, especially when you have a lot of family dynamics, which I've seen before, I can be much more objective to say, listen, you have 3 of your children working in the business doing the same role. I understand why you have 3 of them working here, but perhaps you need to differentiate their roles and give them some different responsibilities so that they're effective at work rather than all of them doing the same job. That's an example that I can do that directly as a consultant, where I could not do that if I was just an employee that came in to help the business grow.
For sure. So I'm curious your perspective on this when it comes to scalability of a fulfillment model. It sounds like a lot of the work that you do is very custom towards your client and is tailored towards their situation. And I can imagine that could potentially take up a lot of your time. And please correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, so that's part of the engagement process too. Whatever they want me to work with them, I can do a one-on-one, which can be usually about an hour and a half per week that we work, and we have some very specific targets that we want to hit. I actually provide them with workbooks that they have to complete, and they have to stay on track to do things once we choose the strategy we're trying to fix, which I have about 20 different strategies that I can apply to any business. We never try to do more than 3 at a time because they're time consuming and you have to be dedicated to make the change happen. And then I also have in smaller businesses that don't take as much time, I have done group cohorts where I will have a group of 5 to 10 businesses that work together. So they actually help each other as if they were part of a classroom, where I am in there with them doing one weekly class and we are working together. We assign homework as teams and they can hold each other accountable. So it doesn't take me as much time as it would with a one-on-one client that obviously is spending more money for my service.
Of course, yeah. So you're already thinking about that scale in some sort of capacity.
Yes.
I'm curious, when it comes to the back end, when you are looking to acquire more clients and bring on more customers, what are you currently doing right now to generate leads and to drive marketing?
So we have outsourced a lot of that, and I have used several other companies that do lead generation and everything else. But the reality is, for the most part, my personal networking, when I go to events and I meet new people, and referrals from my existing clients have been the best source of that. Just because they have already experienced what it is like to work with me, what it is like to get results from working with me. And also, quite frankly, when I go to events, I see a lot of people that are looking for a mentor. They're looking for somebody to guide them. They're looking for somebody to help them. And if I connect properly with a person, I'm happy to do it. I'm not going to just take on anybody. I'm selective on who I take time to work with, just because I don't want to do it just because somebody says, oh, I can pay you for it. No, that doesn't work for me. It has to be a good feeling that we're going to work on this together.
Got it. So you mentioned a couple different things there. When you say you're outsourcing the marketing, but you said referrals and networking are more effective, why do you think that the outsourcing hasn't been effective?
Outsourcing is effective. I didn't say it's not effective. It's just not as effective as the in-person feel or a direct referral from a client. It is very effective and it is very automated. I mean, there's a lot of AI that is being utilized on this to generate leads and follow-ups and appointments and things of that nature. And usually generate some kind of appointment where I will be talking to them and trying to understand their businesses, doing an in-depth business analysis to see where they are at. I also have another referral source, which is Affinity Partners, which is something that I actually have created for a few companies. So I have a few people in the lending space that when they're looking at businesses that need to rectify their structure and their ability to be in their ability to qualify towards an SBA loan or any other kind of lending, they hire me to come in and help that business fix all the structural and basic problems they have so then they can qualify for the loan. So that's another source of leads that I have that is unique, but very effective for my industry.
Got it. With the automation, with the outsourcing, what channels do you guys leverage there? Is that like email? Then what does that look like?
They do email campaigns, they do LinkedIn campaigns, they do other Instagram, and I forgot the third one that they do. But they basically create all the content, they submit all the content to generate interest. And then when the leads come in, they put them on a cadence for lead generation to generate the conversation until they give me an appointment. And then I jump in.
Got it. And do you find that yields to enough appointments that where you want to be? Or
So far, yes. So far, they have kept me very busy. And as a matter of fact, in some cases, I have app to enhance the filters that I've been using to get to the actual qualified leads that I like, rather than getting so many leads that I'm talking to solopreneurs that are really just starting up and everything else, and they really don't have the resources, or they are not at a level where I can really help them grow. They're, in some cases, basically a brand new business, just trying to figure out how to even get some clients, not how to grow.
walk me through your sales process. So once a lead does come in through the door, it sounds like they're setting appointments, or I don't even know if they're setting appointments, but walk me through all the different steps in the process for them to become a client.
So the first part of the process that I do is I do a short 15-minute interview on Zoom. And I basically get to know them, get to understand their motivation, try to understand what they're going through and what the goals for the business are. The second step of the process that I do is I do a 60-minute conversation talking about different strategies, trying to see if they have a basic understanding of marketing, if they have a basic understanding of drip campaigns, if they have a basic understanding of partnership, if they have a basic understanding of the different methodology that they have to use on their website to attract clients, etc. Once I get all that, I take a lot of notes, and then I'll do another hour and a half meeting with them in which we really quantify everything that they need to do, how it needs to be done. And I show them a roadmap of what they would be doing in the future. And then at that point, we come to an agreement if we're going to work together and what the fees are. And then usually they pay an annual fee or however long the engagement is going to be. And then we start working immediately the following week.
Okay, very cool. So you've got the 15-minute call, then the 60-minute call, and then there's a 90-minute call after that.
Correct. So it's 3 calls total.
Okay.
And the first one really helps me understand if we even have the affinity to work together, because there'll be cases in which there's just no cohesion in our goals of what I like to do, or if they're even willing to be coached. There are people that absolutely refuse to be coached. They think that they got it all figured out. So there's no point on hiring a coach if you don't want to listen. I tell people, it's just like going to the gym. Don't hire a fitness if you think that you're going to get fit by sitting on the couch eating potato chips. No, you got to go to the gym. So if you're not going to do that, then don't bother. Same thing. And then on the second call, I am understanding where they're at. And then on the third call, I am describing to them in the very least a roadmap that I give to them for free. If they choose to use it on their own, that's fine. Most people, the issue that they have is they don't know how to implement a plan. Again, going back to the same analogy of the gym. Most people, when they go to a gym, if they have accountability and they have somebody show them what to do, they stay going, versus the people that just join a gym and then they try to go on their own and figure out what is that machine for and how many reps do I need to do. And then they do the same machine, same reps all the time, and they figure out I'm not getting any results. Same thing. If you don't have a game plan, it's hard to really get to somewhere. So that's the reason why I do the 3 separate calls in order to get there.
Got it. So it's, with the leads, you're fairly busy. You're running the sales, and then you're also running the client success on the back end. Are you looking to delegate some of this in the future, like getting a sales guy or?
I have outsourced, but in different things that I do all that. But I don't really want to be at that point where I have to have an entire staff handling that. So I got people like, like a virtual assistant and virtual salespeople and all that that take care of all that minutia and all that. So I focus on just the clients that I want to work with.
Got it. Okay. So you have somebody running the sales for you? I'm confused there.
See, I do that outsourcing for that with virtual assistants. So they basically handle all the setup until I get to me doing the actual sale.
Got it. That call, is that something you want to delegate?
I haven't looked into outsourcing that call just yet. No.
Okay. Okay. Very interesting.
Yeah.
When you think
Mhm.
of your vision, let's say over the next 12 to 18 months, what
Mhm.
specific revenue targets are you aiming for?
So my typical client pays about $60,000 a year. That's my average client. My bandwidth is to handle about 10 to 12 clients a year, and that's sufficient.
Okay, fair enough. Are you at that point right now?
I'm about in and out somewhere between 4, and sometimes I'm as high as 8. So I want to get to about where consistently I have 10 to 12, so I don't have to keep replacing people. But again, it's only been a couple of years since we started, so I feel like we're in a pretty good trajectory.
Yeah. What do you feel like is the biggest challenge that, if solved, would help you be at 10 to 12 consistently?
I think it's just finding more qualified clients like with everybody else. I talk to a lot of people that when they hear $60,000 a year, they're like, "Oh my goodness, I don't know if I can afford that." And a lot of people, sometimes their business is not making $60,000 a year in profit. Hence why my target is businesses that are actually more established. Ideally, if a business is doing $10 million, they're spending more that on just leads on LinkedIn or Facebook than what they are really spending on anything else. So it's an easy sale if they can afford it. So ideally, the only thing that I would improve would be finding those more targeted customers to have more appointments that are better for me. That's all.
Yeah, so just higher quality appointments. What about the close rate? Where are you at there?
My close rate is pretty strong. I would say fluctuates between 62% to 69%.
62 to 69. And that's from cold traffic.
That is for qualified leads to becoming a client.
Got it. Got it. Okay, so let's say you have 10 qualified leads on your calendar, you're going to close 6 to 7.
Correct.
Okay, very strong.
Mhm.
That's powerful. What advice would you give to new coaches looking to step into the industry in 2025?
The number one thing that you have to do as a coach is understand that your role is to really care about your clients and their journey. It's not about you. A lot of coaches that I see today, when they got a new client, all they talk about is what they've done and how their success, and in almost thinking you need to replicate what I've done. And that's not what matters in order to grow a business. You need to start thinking like that business owner, understand what are the challenges that they're facing, understand what are the problems that they cannot solve, and then help them with a different vision and a different way to solve those problems.
Yeah.
If you let them lead you, you're going to be just repeating what they've been doing. And most of the time that fails. If you are able to get them to self-discover the things that they're not seeing, just helping them with a different vision and getting them there, that's when all of a sudden the success really becomes massive, because what they're doing now, they're totally on board with. In essence, you implanted that idea as their idea, and now they do it with conviction.
Yeah. I like that. For the people that want to work with you, what is the best way for them to reach out?
And they can go to the sales.coachguru.com and
Sales.coach.guru?
the sales.coachguru.com.
The salescoachguru.com.
Correct.
Got
They
it.
can download a free copy of my book right there, and then they can reach me through the website and book an appointment.
Awesome. I love it. Any last words before we wrap up?
I will tell anybody who has been considering doing this in their journey that if you really do it from the heart and you have the expertise in the field, you will be successful. Just stay focused, stay keeping pushing forward, and then the right clients will come on board.
I love it, man. Thank
Yes,
you so
sir.
much for your time, Ed.
Thank you, Ammar. Appreciate it. It's a pleasure.
Anytime. So that wraps up another insightful episode of Founders Future. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to go to the salescoachguru.com. You can reach Ed there and book a call with him. Also, if you're inspired by today's conversation, don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And if you are a business owner, specifically coach, consultant, or an agency, and you're really looking to scale your business and really enhance your sales and marketing efforts and find out the blueprint that took us from 0 to $30 million a year in 26 months, visit closers.io to discover how we can support your growth journey. Until then, keep on climbing.